2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your Monday here, ready to set the tone. Can you believe it? We are finally in the, it went by quick, the last full week for the month of January. Yeah, that kind of blows my mind. I know it does for you as well. Welcome into the program. We have plenty to chat about today. Holy cow, another weekend of absolute insanity, and we will break it all down for you and get your thoughts. I know it's been very unpopular. I have so much hate on social media right now. It is unbelievable, but we have to have a serious cultural conversation. Do we not? You know what I'm talking about. We'll get to it in just a minute. Welcome into the show as usual. It is The Voice of Reason. My name's Andy Hooser, broadcasting right here in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship radio station. We are all over the country. So many great radio affiliates, TV, streaming, podcasting, doing our thing like we do every single day.
Do it live!
That's right. And you can find us on our website, HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com. Also our social media at Hooser Reason. And if you want the podcast of the program, you can find it on any of your favorite podcasting sites by just typing in The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. All right, bottom of the hour, we have Caitlin Connors on the program. She's with the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America organization. The March for Life happening over the weekend, even braving the cold weather, man. I give you major props. That deserves a round of applause right there, because holy cow. Yeah. That is bigly. That was some cold weather. Now, I enjoy that cold weather. I did not post any videos, but Saturday night, real quick, and then I'll get to the angry, divisive, hateful, emotionally driven stuff. Saturday night, we were hunkered down at home after the national broadcast, sitting there, and in our small little town, there's one restaurant in our small little town. And it was the big UFC night, the grand unveiling of UFC on Paramount Plus. If you have Paramount Plus, you can stream all the UFC fights now without having to pay for pay-per-view. It's freaking awesome. I was so excited. It was family fight nights. Even little Voice of Reason was getting somewhat excited about that. So we were sitting there, and I said, you know, it'd be nice to have maybe some wings, have some pizza, have some dip, make it kind of a sports party. Now, for me, that's kind of a thing. I don't do that very often, especially for sports. It's all politics. I'm always focused on work. I always have things to do after the show, and I'd work on new videos and work on new content and whatever else. So very rarely do we sit back and actually enjoy a sporting event, but I was excited about Family Fight Night on UFC. which, by the way, was a great fight. By the way, Justin Gaethje rocked it. I'm a big fan of his. And Paddy the Baddie, Paddy Pimblett is his name, from England. And it was a great fight, really great fight. It was fantastic, and I've become a fan of him. I respect the hell out of him after what I saw on Saturday night. But nonetheless, so we were sitting there wanting to do something. So we called, ordered some wings, ordered some appetizers from our restaurant. Now, with how small our town is, it's literally like a 3-minute drive. I mean, it's not very far at all. If it were nice weather, we could walk or ride our bikes there in about, 10 minutes. And it's really not that bad. So I go out, start up the car, has a hard time because here in Kansas, it was, I don't know, right at like 3 degrees outside with a wind chill of -10. So it was nice. Went out, started the car, got the ice and snow off the car. And while it was warming up, in my T-shirt, by the way, was shoveling the snow off my front porch. And I saw that, my friends, as a major victory. So well done. I know. All of you are shaking your head at me. It's okay. You can be angry. Yes, we did do the voodoo magic in order to bring that cold weather here. I'm not allowed to move to Greenland yet, so therefore I had to bring Greenland weather down to us. I am hearing that parts of Tennessee in some areas still without power, people trying to deal with that. So hopefully everybody's okay. Hopefully they're in survival mode and they can at least not have their pipes freeze, or they have some food and water and whatever else. So, hopefully everybody's okay. But at the same time, it's winter time. We should probably be prepared for these types of storms. That being said, the cold weather's nice. It is still cold. It's going to be cold this entire week, and I am relishing in it. If you are watching the video feed, I do have a long sleeve shirt under my T-shirt, but that's it. Like, that's as far as it goes, man, because I enjoy this. Nonetheless, let's get into what's trending here, shall we?
What's trending today?
And we have to bring it up. We have to talk about it. It's frustrating because after a while, after a few of these incidents happen, we need to step back and think, gee, what's really going on? For those that don't know, outside of being on the air every day, I'm an operations manager for a cluster of radio stations. I'm the programmer. I'm a quasi-engineer. I'm the guy that keeps all the radio stations on the air and functioning the way they're supposed to. And I have about 10 of them that I oversee across the entire state of Kansas and Oklahoma, along with a statewide network that broadcasts agricultural news and all that sort of thing. So my responsibilities are kind of hefty because if we go off the air in any aspect, I'm the one that gets the phone calls on what's going on. Which means the 10 plus years that I've been doing this, I've learned that you don't just fix whatever is going on with the issue, but you learn why it happened to make sure it doesn't happen again. You do preventative care, and you look at the deeper issue of, wow, this is why this continues to act up. Everybody has that problem. If your pipes are bursting in your home, you look at why they continue to burst. If your computer keeps crashing, you look at why your computer keeps crashing. Therefore, you make sure it doesn't continue to happen any longer. This is kind of common sense. Now, I want to relate that to what we've seen up in Minneapolis. This is now what? The second, third shooting that we've seen with ICE, with agitators. And you ask the simple question, why does this keep happening? Now, I've seen the video of the latest one that happened on Saturday morning. We've looked at it over and over and over again. There's different video of it. There's different angles of it. There's one from the car where it happened literally right in front of them. It happened from one side of the street. It happened on the other side of the street. We're looking at all these. And with all that being said, it's still, from that aspect, from the point of where the chaos happened, indefinitive, in my opinion, on exactly who's at fault. Was it necessary to use the legal force? And of course, the other side, it's automatically, no, it wasn't. ICE is evil. They're the Nazi Gestapo that's coming to try and get people. And they're not trained properly. They're not trained for de-escalation, which they shouldn't be anyways. Let's be honest. ICE should not be trained in de-escalation because there shouldn't be anything to de-escalate. They're there to arrest bad guys, illegal aliens that have broken the law. Period. End of story. That's it. There's nothing else that's supposed to be on their duty list. And they're trained to do that, to go and get the bad guy. They're focusing on bad guys, not just people that are here illegally. This person they were trying to get in Minneapolis, I believe, had violent assault charges and was wanted that way. He has a criminal record. They were going to get him. And people that are agitators apparently are defending someone with violent assault charges to remain in their community. And that's kind of weird to me. So that being said, we have people that are angry, thinking that obviously, automatically, ICE are the ones to blame, and that it's the Gestapo, and it's this tyrannical Donald Trump administration, and so on, fill in the blank with all these derogatory terms about how big government's coming to get you. To the point, actually, I got this clip. I find it hilarious. This Watch ICE, Antifa member, whoever the hell it is, was on CNN on Sunday after this happened. And even the CNN guy, I believe it's Jake Tapper, was sitting there and saying, wait a second, hold on here. Maybe we need to back up a little bit.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet, but these are concentration camps.
Okay.
I don't need to argue with you about that.
Yeah. So we're throwing people in concentration camps. We're not throwing them in ovens yet. But that's the claim that's being made from these individuals. This is where their mind is at. I have many other videos that are on social media floating around right now of these agitators that are members of Antifa that are now saying it is time to actually arm yourself and go violent head-to-head with law enforcement, federal law enforcement, because it is now a war against the fascists or the Nazis or the tyrants or whatever else they want to call these. The federal law enforcement agents are coming into your community. It is time to pick up arms and fight. That's what they're calling. And they're the ones advocating now for the Second Amendment because now guns are the only thing that's going to stop the tyranny from coming to your community. When again, their duty, get bad guys that are illegal aliens that have broke the law. Period. End of story. Now, many say that's the role of the Second Amendment, and I would agree to an extent. You're supposed to hold the government accountable. The government itself, as a whole, has not done anything worthy of being a Nazi fascist dictatorial regime at all. Getting bad guys out of communities is not it. So sorry. Now, I want to step away from the conversation of at that moment where the individual was shot, and I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to glorify him. He's not a martyr, and he's not a victim of society, which we'll get to in a minute. I'm not going to say his name. Besides that moment of the shooting, was he pulling a firearm? Was the firearm taken away from him? Was it a justified shooting or not? That is all speculation. It's got the political standpoints. We've got the political lines drawn on both sides of the aisle. My job as someone who's an operations manager, a program director, an engineer, someone who tries to prevent these things, and after it happening multiple times, my question is, what can we possibly do to make sure this type of scenario doesn't happen again? What type of act can we perform to make sure this scenario is not on repeat over and over and over again? And it comes down to the basic, simple concept that you don't need to be there. You're not fighting a Nazi regime. You're not fighting the Gestapo. And even if you think you are, let's just put in that mindset. Let's step into those shoes for a minute. Even if you think that you are, and that ICE is completely untrained and not trained properly, as a person that can even semi-critically think, do you think it's a good idea to be in that situation at that time? You have the right to carry a firearm. That guy was legally carrying. Not going to challenge that whatsoever. He had multiple magazines on him. He has the right to do that. He is a lawful Second Amendment carrier. No one is challenging that whatsoever. But if you're there with intent to be an agitator against federal law enforcement, where's the responsible gun ownership part coming into this? You have the right to carry. You have the right to protest. But if you're there with intent to be an agitator, with the intent to more than likely get arrested, like he probably has many times before, to go and protest, be obnoxious, get arrested, get bailed out on some misdemeanor charges, and then go about your day and do your thing all over again. If that's your goal, maybe carrying a firearm against federal law enforcement that could be seen as a major threat probably isn't the smartest thing to do. There's a line between you have the right to do it and you should do it. Does that make sense? Like, you have the right to do a lot of things. Should you do them? Probably not. But you have the right to. Law says that you can. No one's going to stop you from doing it. But there are consequences. Action, reaction. Action and consequences, whatever you choose to do here. We need to get back to that mindset. And the way that we prevent this stuff from happening again, this is the other side. They're not going to listen to it because they literally think we're throwing people in concentration camps and are one step away from burning them in ovens. That's the mindset. So are we getting anywhere? No, we're not, because these people are a whole nother level, man.
I'm
but
special.
that's the only way. And we have to go into that as the federal law enforcement agents, as the ICE agents, we have to go into that scenario knowing that we're dealing with people that are in an emotional rage, that are not thinking critically. Because anybody else that would be thinking critically says, I'm going to go and call my elected officials, I'm going to go to the voting booth, I'm going to stand on the other side of the street and maybe protest, sure, but I'm not going to interfere with someone who has very large firearms, that's wearing bulletproof vests, and is there doing a federal law enforcement operation. I'm not getting involved in that because that's not my place, and I'd like to go home to my family at the end of the day. So even if they think that law enforcement is not doing the right thing or doing it wrongly or whatever else, you would want to be smarter to say, maybe I should take that into consideration when I do these tasks, because I'm going to assume that they're not doing it the proper legal or, whatever way. It's my take. This guy is not a martyr. Even if he was in the right to do what he did, even if law enforcement did it in the wrong way, how can we prevent it happening further? No one's having that conversation because we don't talk about consequences in society any longer, and it's about time that we start doing it.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
I would just add on this level of cooperation a few statistics that I think are very important. 7 of the top 10 safest cities in the United States cooperate with ICE. And we've seen historic turnaround in safety in cities that have chosen to cooperate with ICE, that are not just led by Republicans, but also look right here in Washington, D.C. We had a great level of cooperation with Mayor Bowser and the local government, and we have been able to remove thousands of illegal aliens from the District of Columbia, where you all live, so you can thank President Trump for that. The murder rate in Washington, D.C. has plummeted as a result. There were no riots, there were no protests, nobody was tragically killed as a result of that level of cooperation between federal and local authorities. And again, that's all the president is asking for in Minnesota. It's totally common sense.
What a wild concept. Yeah, by the way, we have some news on where the lack of law enforcement is happening up in Minneapolis. We'll get to in just a minute, but that's Caroline Levitt during the press conference today, and yeah, laying down. Work with us. Again, we don't even need to be in the street unless you would actually get the bad guys, extract them yourself with local law enforcement, and then be able to hand them over to ICE as an illegal alien who's committed crimes on multiple different fronts and has, some type of record to them that we're trying to get out of the community. If you give them to us, we wouldn't be there in the first place. No. Got to cause the havoc. So it's all political, it's all game, and there's a reason for it we'll get to in just a minute. I want to tell you about my friends over at Lean. I love taking it. I've been doing it since the beginning of the year, and I feel fantastic. It is so much better than doing fad diets, juice cleanses, cabbage soup diets, raw food diets. It doesn't matter. Those are great, but they're hard to maintain. They're only there for a short amount of time, and then you go back to your same old habits, and you don't really do anything. Doctors call it weight cycling, and many Americans do it. When do you lose 10 pounds or more? You put it back on, add a little bit more to it. It's really tough on your body. It's really tough on your organs and leaves you really frustrated. That's why most people need help losing weight, and here's a great way to do it. Try non-prescription Lean. Lean was created by doctors. It's an oral supplement, not an injection like the GLP-1s, and the science is really cool. It can help you maintain healthy blood sugar. It helps control appetite and cravings, and it helps burn fat by converting it to energy. And when you burn the fat, you help keep the weight off. If you want to lose meaningful weight and at a healthy pace, make sure to keep it off. Add Lean to your diet and your exercise lifestyle. Right now, for my listeners, get 20% off when you enter the code REASON at TakeLean.com. Again, go to TakeLean.com and use the promo code REASON, REASON. Do it today.
It is Wednesday, my dude.
That's not the one we wanted. That's what we wanted. There we are. All right. There we go. It is not Wednesday. That would be the middle of the week. It is a Monday today to kick off your week, and it is absolutely insane. Here's why I say that we need to have this cultural conversation is because I get people are emotionally charged. Both sides, including law enforcement, need to go into that situation understanding that there are some very emotionally immature individuals. And I say immature because this is not the way you handle issues, and they truly think, we played the clip, they literally think that we're there to put people in concentration camps and burn them in ovens.
And we are also proud to be a sanctuary city.
Okay, hold on, that's not it. By golly, where are we? Let's try this one. This is where he's at here.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet.
That's right. By the way, this is the type of rhetoric that's being encouraged by the officials in Minnesota. Of course, Tim Walz, the mayor of Minneapolis. Governor Tim Walz held the press conference this weekend after the shooting and said that apparently with this type of rhetoric, you're winning people over around the country.
This isn't about how many people I can put on the street. It's about how many of these people, these ICE agents and whoever else was thrown into this unholy mess, how many Donald Trump can get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesotans, you've won the hearts and minds of people across this country, and you've done it through your peaceful, resolved defense of your neighbors and the Constitution.
Yeah, that's right. The peaceful, the agitators that are obstructing law enforcement from doing their job that are carrying firearms with the potential intent to do something harmful. Yeah, that's the peaceful protest that he's encouraging to continue in that area.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Guys, welcome back into the program. Great to have you here for a Monday, setting that tone, my friends. By the way, we are also 1 week away until our newsletter comes out. If you're not aware, our first Monday of the month, the Hooserholic newsletter comes out. Be part of that Hooserholic family. Just go to HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com. Make sure you go and check us out there. And that will have our blog on there. It will have information about the show, new affiliates that are coming on board, which, by the way, we have some new ones that will be joining us here relatively soon. I cannot wait to announce those and a heck of a lot more. Again, just becoming a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com. That's HOOSER Reason.com. Before we shift gears real quickly as we wrap up this conversation about what happened up in Minneapolis, there was, we talk about where local law enforcement is. ICE has openly said, and they're working with other law enforcement around the country, we don't have to go into your streets. We don't have to go barging into houses. We don't have to do anything. If you get us the bad guys, the ones that we are looking for that have criminal records that are not just illegal aliens, criminal records that we're trying to get off the streets, making your community, I don't know, safer and a better place. We don't have to be there. Work with us. But for some reason, politically, Minneapolis doesn't want to. And in fact, law enforcement's not doing a whole lot at all, which is why we see now from the Daily Mail that as of apparently today, that protesters actually have attacked, vandalized, and, quote, laid siege to the hotel that ICE is staying at in Minneapolis right now, as the Home Suites by Hilton Hotel in Minneapolis was attacked Sunday night into this morning as the chaos unfolded after the 37-year-old ICU nurse had died from the shooting that was involved with ICE. So I ask you the simple question now. Now you're vandalizing and destroying your own community. Where's the local law enforcement in this situation? Right? That would be kind of common sense. All right, I want to shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about some other issues here, shall we?
What's trending today?
As you're aware, and I got to give them a round of applause, man, the fact that people still braved it over the weekend. It was, yeah, the extreme cold that we had to deal with across the nation that many are still dealing with. Now, I enjoy it. I want to move to Greenland. Greenland weather came to me for the weekend, so I'll absorb as much of it as I can. But even with all that bitter cold and the snow that happened across the nation, the March for Life movement still went on this past weekend. I don't know how many people showed up. I know usually it's close to like 1 million people. I don't know if that many actually showed up in the cold this year, but it was a rock solid one. Vice President J.D. Vance speaking, and it was a bombshell there as well.
Today, the far left in this country tells our young people that marriage and children are obstacles, that it's irresponsible, even immoral because of climate change or some other reason to encourage our young people to raise a family. They tell us that life itself is a burden. But we here at this march, we know that it's a lie. We know that life is a gift. We know that babies are precious because we know them and we love them and we see the way that they can transform our families. We know that family is not just the source of a great joy, but it's part of God's design for men and women, a design that extends outward from the family to our neighborhoods, to our communities, and to the United States of America itself.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful speech. It went on for a while, but it was great to see that. And we are seeing right now one of the most pro-life administrations we've seen in a long time. What else can we do? Do we need to take it a step further? And where are we at with this conversation? That's where we go to with our...
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
That's right. Really happy to have on the program. She is the political director for the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Really happy to have on here Caitlin Connors. Caitlin, how are you, my friend?
Hey, doing so well. Thank you so much for having me on and for having this conversation today.
Yeah, you betcha. It's fantastic. Before we get into the Hyde Amendment, which I know has been brought up in conversation, I mean, the March for Life, what a great time to have you on, and what a great time to reflect on the March for Life movement. And I got to admit, I mean, it shows the dedication that this movement has when people are braving that negative 15-degree wind chill out in Washington, D.C., out of all places, to go to a rally like this. That was pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know what? It's always a breath of fresh air. You never know what kind of weather you're going to get in DC in January. It's either miserably cold or it's oddly warm. So you never know. But regardless, we have people coming from across the country who are traveling in whatever weather they're coming from. The commitment is real, and it's young students in a majority. I mean, we have people from all over, like I said, but it's a lot of school groups, it's colleges. It's a young movement. It's always really refreshing to see that, and just gives us all a jolt to know that the younger generation is really pro-life, and they want to see the life movement expand and see even more progress. So yeah, it is always great to celebrate the March for Life. Grateful for that opportunity, grateful for the vice president speaking there as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that with the young generation. I'm part of the millennial generation. I know our generation has had some struggles. We've kind of been led astray for a while. We kind of got a bad rep in our generation as millennials, but the ones after us have kind of realized the error of that way. In these social issues, these social conversations are something that the younger generations want to have more of a conversation about. And like you said, it sounds like they're moving more towards the right direction, recognizing the errors of some of the previous conversations that have been had.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm a fellow millennial, so you're right. We get a bad rap sometimes, but you're right. The younger generation in particular, I mean, I think, there's so many advances in technology. So if you think of it, like, a lot of these kids have grown up and they've seen, the first time they saw their sibling was an ultrasound picture. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was a 4K ultrasound picture where they could actually see their little brother or sister's face. I think the denying of the humanity of the unborn child gets harder and harder to do despite the left's attempt at doing that. And I think our younger generation has just grown up knowing that what the reality, what the truth is, and that is that every life, unborn or not, is worthy of protection, and that those unborn babies are, in fact, babies.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to present time now with legislation. We were able to repeal, essentially, Roe v. Wade, bring it back down to a statewide level. Now we have the conversation that bleeds into the Hyde Amendment as well of where abortion decisions should be made. Do we make the decisions and keep it at a statewide level that we fought so hard for years? Do we start addressing it at a federal level to try and protect life? In your opinion, where is the conversation right now, and where should the future of this issue look like moving forward?
I think that's a great question because it's certainly the main topic of conversation right now. So the Dobbs decision, which is what reverse Roe versus Wade, finally allowed for the people through our elected representation to enact laws to protect life. Forever, since 1973, rather, feels like forever, we have been under this chokehold of Roe versus Wade, which said we can't protect life through any kinds of laws. And so now we have this ability to do that. About half of our states have made swift action to protect life. About half of our states have even gone in the opposite direction, making their abortion laws even more permissive and extreme. And so where we are as a movement right now is we want to see the states go as far as they can in protecting life and creating a safety net for families, pro-family policies. But we also know that, unfortunately, we have states like New York, California, who openly break pro-life states' laws by, for example, mailing abortion drugs over state lines into pro-life states where it's explicitly illegal to do so. But in New York and California and some select states across the country, they're protected by so-called shield laws that says, well, as long as you're prescribing that medication from the safety of New York, you can go ahead and break that law in Alabama or Mississippi or wherever you might be. And unfortunately, if we don't have Washington and interact with that, we're going to see our state's laws continue to be undermined. And right now where we are in the movement is we're actually seeing more abortions happen post-Roe than prior to Roe because of the influx of abortion drugs. Yeah. And that is a whole conversation in of itself. I'd be happy to have that conversation too. But what we want is we want states to be empowered to actually be able to pass laws to save lives, but for their laws to actually have meaning and for them to have meaning and to be upheld, we have to have some interaction from Washington, D.C. as well.
Sure. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I live in the state of Kansas, and for some reason, even as a relatively red state, we have a very left-wing Supreme Court. Our state Supreme Court has said that it is a constitutional right and a protection to have an abortion in the state, and we're still battling those types of legal battles. So the battle continues on in many different fronts. One of them, let's go to the Hyde Amendment, the difference between public taxpayer money and private money that's funding abortions around the state of around the nation. President Trump speaking, and still, as I said, one of the most pro-life administrations that we've seen in a very long time, recently made a statement about, hey, we need to be able to negotiate and have some negotiating wiggle room, essentially, with the Hyde Amendment. Why do you think he brought that up, and where does this conversation go, do you think?
Yeah. Well, if I could set the table a little bit for your listeners as well, the Hyde Amendment goes back to the 1970s. It's named after Congressman Henry Hyde, and simply it says that the taxpayer shall not fund elective abortions. This is something that even pro-choice voters agree with. So this, from a political perspective, is something that pro-choice and pro-life voters agree on. It has been a long-held principle of the pro-life movement and of the Republican Party. You know, President Trump has done so many incredible things for the life movement, and where we are right now is because of his leadership and decision-making. And so we have this opportunity now we were talking about abortion drugs. We can make progress there. When we're talking about the Hyde Amendment specifically, this really is a non-negotiable. We cannot be flexible on this because this is really fundamental to the pro-life movement, to the GOP as well. And, you know, my question always is, what is it that the Dems or the abortion lobby is ever flexible on when it comes to their goals of the abortion on demand, taxpayer funded? They are unrelenting.
Right.
So we can't be flexible on this. I know our president is a master negotiator. That is how he has been so successful with many, many other policies as well. The Hyde Amendment, though, is not one for negotiation. And I think, you know, since that comment first came out, I think we have seen, certainly in House and Senate leadership, there's been a very strong, you know, commitment that
they realize that we got to stay
moving forward.
Yeah, we got to realize
Yeah,
they say
we got to stay strong.
Yeah, exactly. Hang on the line. We got to take a hard break here. It's Caitlin Connors with the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. I want to continue this when we come back around the corner. Stay right here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, D.C.'s broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all the social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, darn right it is. What's up? Welcome back into it. We got a few minutes left as we wrap things up for a Monday today. By the way, I told you about the awesome UFC fight that was over the weekend, the first one on Paramount Plus. I enjoyed it, man. Apparently a lot of other people did too. I saw just during the break here, I had seen that Paramount broke their record for the largest live stream that Paramount Plus has ever done, with near 6 million people watching the main event with Patty Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. That's awesome. A total of 7.1 million total households jumped in and out of the feed. But during the main event, the grand finale, 6 hours later, 5 hours later, with UFC fighting, near 6 million people, shattering the record for Paramount Plus. So that's a big one.
Winning.
Well done on that, man. That's exciting, and hopefully those numbers continue, because now I don't have to pay pay-per-view for it. So all right. I'm excited about that. All right, right now we're hanging out. We're talking about the pro-life movement, the Hyde Amendment, the banning of public tax funds that would fund abortions in the nation, and holding firm on that movement. How do we continue to hold firm, and what's the future of this movement look like? We're hanging out with Caitlin Connors, the political director for the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Caitlin, I'm glad, as you mentioned going into the break, and I apologize for cutting you off here, that Donald Trump understands, and as you're right, he's the deal maker, he's the great negotiator, he gets things done, that we're very firm on the fact that taxpayer money, public money, is kind of a non-starter. That's a portion of this conversation that should not be negotiated at all, right?
Right. Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up again. Yeah, it really is. It's a non-negotiable, and any healthcare plan that doesn't have high protections in it needs to be dead on arrival. And I think we've seen since that comment, we've seen some action on the Hill, both House and Senate leadership being very firm in that, understanding that this is a pillar of the pro-life movement. And like I said, I think at the top, it's really, even from a political perspective, the right choice, the smart move, because the majority of Americans, over 60% of Americans, believe that their tax dollars shouldn't fund abortion, even if they call themselves pro-choice. So, from a political perspective, certainly from a moral perspective, having those high protections in there is a non-negotiable.
Yeah, I love it. We got a few minutes left here. What's the next step in these conversations? Like you said, we've been able to get rid of Roe v. Wade essentially with the Dobbs ruling. We've been able to bring it back down to the states. It hasn't helped yet on the aspect of trying to limit the amount of abortions because, like you said, abortions have gone up. Here in Kansas, we're kind of the central hub from all these surrounding states that did ban it for them to come here for some reason and do it. What is the next step? Is it what type of federal oversight or enforcement on this issue needs to be done, and what kind of bills do you think need to be discussed at the federal level?
Yeah, so I think we have two buckets right now. We talked about the Hyde Amendment. That is key moving forward. And I think the other bucket is certainly the abortion drugs. That is the sole reason right now that we have an uptick in abortions, because we have drugs that are pouring in from other states internationally as well. Women are directly in harm's way when it comes to this. They have pills sent to them from undisclosed locations sometimes with minimal to no explanation for, telling them if you have complications, just go to the emergency room. And women are suffering, not to mention, of course, the unborn baby. So we have got to figure out a way to put some regulations back in place on the abortion drug. First and foremost, in the first administration, under the Trump administration, there were regulations in place to at least say that these drugs, that they're going to be administered, have to be done so in person. And then when the Biden administration came in, of course, under the name of COVID, and none of us can go outside of our houses anymore, they used that as a great excuse to say, oh, how about we just make telehealth abortions as well? And unfortunately, we have not had a reversal of that Biden policy. So let's reverse that Biden policy. Let's make sure that the policies that exist today are 100% Trump policies. And let's go back to the Trump 1 administration, get that back in place. And I think that would make major strides in protecting women from harm and certainly protecting unborn babies, getting the abortion rates to go down. That is really what we're seeing right now is the abortion drugs. They are harmful in so many ways. Yeah. And so women deserve better. Babies certainly deserve better. Let's start with that action at the top.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And it's only going to get more complicated because telemedicine and this virtual stuff is becoming more mainstream, especially, like you said, during COVID. So it's going to be a battle that we need to address. I think we probably need to get a hold of that type of situation now before it gets more complicated and more accessible as we go down this road. And that's the battle that we have to work on. I know the Trump administration will hopefully deal with that relatively soon. It is Caitlin Connors with the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Caitlin, we appreciate it very much, my friend. Keep up this fight. Obviously, one of the most important fights that we can have is to save the life of the next generation, which is wild that we have to do so in the first place. Let's get you back on and do it again real soon, my friend.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Hey, appreciate it very much. Again, Caitlin Connors, the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Go see all their great information on how we can be part of that movement. Back at it again tomorrow for a Tuesday. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. We'll see you back on the radio. Bye. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the voice of reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own voice of reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at